Welcome to the Third Degree. My name is Dr. Tony Costa, and I'm here with my friend, Pastor Sule Prince, and we have a special guest with us today, Sandra Solomon. Welcome to the Third Degree, Sandra.
Thank you. It's an honor for me to be here.
We wanted to know a little bit about your past, and you are a former Muslim. Can you tell us something about your birthplace, your family, your upbringing, and share with us your experience?
I'm originally Palestinian. I was born in a city called Ramallah in the West Bank, but I was raised all my life in Saudi Arabia since I was 9 years old. And I lived there all my life, even till high school, even when I got married as well. So most of my life I spent it in Saudi Arabia. It's governed by 100% Sharia law constitution.
How was life in Saudi Arabia?
Life in Saudi Arabia, living under Sharia law, it's living in hell, like in jail. There's no freedom of speech, especially women. We don't have rights. We must cover with the hijab and niqab. They force us to cover our faces as well since we're young, as age of 10, 11 in schools. And women they're second-class citizen. They've been treated like in home, in streets, in schools, as if we're not capable to take care of ourselves, and we're like lots of oppression for women there. And in general, it's man controlling. It's like wherever you see like all men controlling the whole. Like men, they're allowed to drive. They're allowed to take position, like work-wise. Women are just allowed to work in school, like as a teacher or something. They're not allowed to have any kind of jobs. Not all jobs like they're allowed to do it. So basically, it's more controlling.
So on March 8th, we celebrated Independent Women's Day.
Yeah.
Would something like that happen in Saudi Arabia, or be condoned by Islam?
Of course not. There is nothing called Women's Day in Islamic countries or 100% Sharia law constitution because, again, they consider women as a second-class citizen. I didn't have ID. We don't have ID. We're not allowed to drive. We're not allowed to have our own personal bank account, or we're not allowed to have our own life. A woman must have a guardian over her life, either a father or a husband or a brother. He has a full control of her life, even her own personal paper or cell phone or anything. She is monitored 24/7 by a guardian, and I wasn't allowed to leave the house without permission of my dad or my brother. Otherwise, I'll be in a big trouble. And there's a lots of honor killing, like almost every day. Girls being killed or being tortured just because once they rebel against it or refuse, or they've been caught talking to a boy or anything, they could be killed. They can lose their life. Every day it's in the news there. Yeah.
And what about marriage? Were you married while you were in Saudi Arabia? Did you have a family?
Yeah. My marriage, as I always say, I wasn't married for almost 5 years. I was raped for almost 5 years because my marriage was forced marriage. That's another thing that most women under 100% constitution Sharia law, the marriage is by force or arranged marriage. The fact that I was rebelling against, I don't want to submit to Sharia law. I don't want to submit. Since I was teenage, I start to rebel against. I start to question Quran and the constitution itself. So I was house arrest after I finished my high school in Jordan for about like almost 2 to 3 years until my dad forced me to marry someone in Saudi Arabia. So my marriage was in Saudi Arabia was by force because they said to me, it's either you marry or either you're gonna be house arrest until you die. So they end up forcing me into it.
You have mentioned Sharia law a few times. What exactly is Sharia law?
Sharia law, it's the constitution. Like say as in Canada or any other country, when you say, oh, we have our own constitution. So Sharia law is the constitution for Muslims, and they take it from the Quran. The Quran is the source of Sharia law. and the hadith, which is the saying and the life of Muhammad, what he said and what he did. So as they teach me when I was young, Quran, Islam is our religion, Quran is our constitution, Muhammad is our prophet, jihad is our way, dying for Allah it's our ultimate dream. That's what they implant in our head, our heart, and our mind since we're young as 7, 6. They teach us from a very early age to submit fully to Islam, to Quran, to Muhammad, to whatever constitution, Sharia law. It's like, what do you call it in Arabic, hudud, the punishments of, like if they kill, they should be killed. If a thief steals something, they cut off the hands. As I was young, between 10 and 11, there's the square where people gather, and I witnessed a beheading myself when I was between 10 and 11.
Wow.
I witnessed the beheading. This is something they do almost every Friday. After they do the Friday sermon, the Friday prayer, in many areas in Saudi Arabia, they go to the execution square where they can see, even the kids, they witness this, of either beheading or the flogging, or if someone steals, they cut off the hands. So that's something that also kids, they witness. So that's Sharia law.
So this square is based on those who disobey the Sharia law.
Exactly. They rebel, they refuse to submit to Sharia law. And many people, they either sometimes, like for the homosexual, they hang them.
Wow.
Sometimes they crucified people. So many. And sometimes, we don't know exactly also what they do to them in jail, behind doors.
And is polygamy an issue as well under Sharia law, that a man can have more than one wife?
Yes, a man is allowed under Sharia law to have more than almost like 4 wives, and the hand possessed, which is the sex slave or the maid.
Can you elaborate more on that? What do you mean by the sex slaves?
Like at the time of Muhammad, when he used to go with his people, the follower, they will conquer and do jihad and take the 6 slave, the 6 captive. So the man will have like 4 Muslim wives as a Muslim woman, but the 6 slave, it could be Christian, Jewish, infidel in general. And that's exactly what they teach us. When I used to live in Saudi Arabia under Sharia law, we are Muslim, we need to submit to Islam, and anyone who's not Muslim or doesn't want to submit to Islam, they consider infidel, kafir, and we should gauge a war against them, jihad, until we spread Islam all over the world. Yeah.
Would you say that all of Islam? Would you say that this is what the Muslim belief is?
When I criticize Islam, I criticize the Islam as an ideology, because Islam to me, it's not a religion, it's a political ideology, and by founder Muhammad, his name, he's the founder of Islam, and so it's not really a religion. It's wrapped up with religion, but it's not religion.
So in that sense, Sandra, would you say that Islam is very different than Christianity, which emphasizes the separation of church and state?
Exactly. In Islam, you cannot separate the mosque from the state. The mosque is the state. Yeah.
And in terms of slavery, is slavery still existent in Saudi Arabia?
Of course, it's still, but hidden. It's not like as obvious as what ISIS are doing now, taking all these captive and actually forcing the jizya on the Christian in Iraq and Syria, and they're taking the Christian people and slave them, especially the Christian women. They take them and they sell them. But in Saudi Arabia, there's no difference between Saudi Arabia and ISIS. It's the same. But the only difference is Saudi formed as a country, as they give it the coverage as a respectful country with the UN and all that stuff. But many things that ISIS are doing, exactly what we lived in Saudi Arabia. There's no difference. The Sharia law police all over the roads, all over the malls, all over the streets. Sharia law police, monitoring people. That's how's life in 100% Sharia law. Muslims are the Sharia police, monitoring. If women are not fully 100% covered, they might hit them with a stick. And they force people, even in the malls, they're forced to shut down the stores until the prayer finished, because the call for the prayer is five times a day, and they close the stores at the time of the prayer. No one can allow to sell and buy and all that. So it's fully control, like 100% control. As I said, on a street, in a mall, in a home, in school, it's everywhere. Sharia, like everywhere, based in Islamic. And in school, most of the subjects are influenced by the Islamic teaching. We used to memorize Quran every day. We used to read Hadith, learn about Muhammad and what his conquest, what he did jihad, and how many people, how many cities he conquered, and what he did, and as well the Islamic history, and as well, the what we learn as a Muslim, we need to be like fully submit to Islam, and the da'wah, and how to make da'wah and all that stuff.
So when you say jizya,
Jizya, yeah.
what is that?
Jizya is like a forced tax on captives, or the people. Let's say if the Muslim take over a city, the Christian, the Jews, whoever lived there, even anyone, infidels, it doesn't matter, like even Hindus, anyone who's not Muslim, they give them 3 options, and that's from the time of Muhammad till today. It's either to become a Muslim, or to pay jizya, or to be executed, or they're gonna kill you. So many people, they end up paying the jizya out of fear. They don't want to convert, they don't want to become Muslim, and also they don't want to be killed, and for the kids, and they don't know what's gonna happen to them. Because in most cases, they kill the parents and they take the kids, and to train the kids to be like them when they grow. Okay. So many parents, they end up paying the jizya out of fear for their kids to become like Muhammad and his followers. So Muhammad, when he started it, the only one thing that he helped him to start all this and to be successful at it, when he got connected with a group called the Al-Sa'alik in Arabic, they're bandits and thugs. And when he collect these people and promised them more land and more women and more spoils, that's how he got started with the jihad and all that killing and all that, calling anyone who's not submitting to him and the Quran is kafir and should be killed.
Sandra, thank you.
No problem. Yes.
Thank you so much.